Turning now to a very strange incident, which should have to keep you all updated. So there's this big piece of news from ABC that broke yesterday. Let's put it up here on the screen. What do we have? We have the FBI is warned that Iran aspired to attack California with drones in retaliation for the war. The warning came in a bulletin that was sent to police departments in recent days that Iran could retaliate for American attacks by launching drones at the West Coast. We recently acquired information. As of early February 2026, Iran allegedly aspired to conduct a surprise attack using unmanned aerial vehicles from an unidentified vessel off the coast of the U.S. homeland, specifically against unspecified targets in California in the event that the U.S. conducted strikes against Iran. We have no additional information on the timing, method, target, or perpetrators of this alleged attack. Obviously, a lot of hackles were raised at that one. What exactly is going on here? Is it a way to try and, inspire fear in the American public in order to try and support some of what's going on right now with the war? And local police and others, including those briefed on the matter. Let's put F3, please, up on the screen. LAPD sources, this is from Fox News, by the way, just to show you how little credence that even these people are giving it. They say, I've talked to today, say there is not a known credible drone threat, and this may fall under the general death to America umbrella. So not really something that was worth, I think, a full-blown bulletin to the LAPD. Let's think about logistics here, Crystal. So the current range, I believe, of the drone would make it so that, 3 to 4 times anything that is even in their theoretical maximal range for their longest range drone that they may have. They would have to put it on a unmanned aircraft carrier, which would have to sail thousands of nautical miles to off the coast of California, so via, across various different sea channels and other things which are highly monitored. And then it would have to take off from said aircraft carrier, unmanned carrier, allegedly, and then come and hit a site in California. Just personally a little skeptical of that.
Yeah, I would say so. There was another uncorroborated report, they say, from 2025 that suggested unidentified Mexican cartel leaders had authorized attacks using drones carrying explosives against U.S. law enforcement. They said this type of attack against U.S. personnel or interests inside the U.S. would be unprecedented, but exemplifies a plausible scenario, although cartels typically avoid actions that would result in unwanted attention or responses from U.S. authorities. Again, think of how nonsensical this is. You think the Mexican cartels want to start a war? Like, you think that's going to go well with them? You think that's an intelligent scenario? So they're clearly trying to gin up all of these, frightful scenarios of what could unfold. And they've got the sequencing all wrong here, Soccer. You got to manufacture the consent before the war starts. You got to do the false flag before you get into this thing. You got to generate all the fear and the anxiety and the, oh my God, they're like terrible people who are coming to attack California. You got to do that before you launch the war, guys. Because now it just reads as like, okay, well, if there's all this risk, why are you doing this? Why are you creating more risk? How is this creating any sort of sense of safety for the American people? No, instead, what you're doing with these, fake bulletins is establishing that what you have done in the Middle East is just creating actually more risk and more danger for Americans here and abroad. I mean, I don't put any stock. There's all this Iranian sleeper cell conversation now too. I don't put any stock in that as well either. But it is true that we are making a lot of people around the world absolutely hate our guts. We just murdered 168 school children. How do you think that, their parents feel about us now? How do you think that their siblings who are going to grow up, how do you think they're going to feel about us now? How do you think all of the orphans in Gaza or the children who are amputees now, largest amputee population in the world in Gaza, how do you think that they feel about us? So yes, we are creating more danger for our own population and our own service members and our own assets in the region. Do I believe this particular story about drone striking LA? Absolutely not. And one other thing to keep in mind here is, what we've seen from Iran in terms of their attacks on any sort of U.S. personnel or bases in the region, it has always been we or Israel attack them first. We have not seen them, trying to come over here and drone strike us. We have not seen them out of the blue attacking our assets in the region either. It has always been in retaliation for something that we started. So it does not fit their pattern of behavior whatsoever. And of course, we already have law enforcement officials who are like, this is ridiculous.
The drone thing, I'm not worried about. The sleeper cell thing, I'll put it to you this way. Do I think that there are intentionally designed terrorist sleeper cells? We didn't see any of that usually during the global war on terror. Although there were a few, like Al-Qaeda plots. You couldn't really call it sleeper cell. It would be an Al-Qaeda cell, right? Like people who were inspired, there would be a small set of teams. You have the London attacks that happened in 2005. You had the Times Square plot, some some of these other things that happen here in the United States, that's very unlikely. But what did we see a lot of? San Bernardino, a lot of these, what are they, like, these so-called like,
lone wolf inspired
type.
blah, blah,
I'm
blah.
actually pretty worried about that.
Yeah, that can definitely happen.
I mean, listen, we have tens of millions of people here illegally. We have no idea who most of these people are. We don't have no registry or any of that, not to mention a massive Muslim population. It's like, yeah, that's scary. And it couldn't even just be them. It could also be, I mean, who knows, far left anarchists, far right people. Like, you have no clue.
Have an FBI that's very interested in creating false, like ginning up terror, radicalizing people themselves, and then setting them off, and so that they can disrupt. Oh my God, we disrupted the terror attack. But no, I mean, listen, undocumented immigrants, that's one thing, but you also have plenty of Americans who are going to be disgusted and radicalized by what's going on, who, are looking at the atrocities abroad. And so it's a very volatile mix. Obviously, we're a population that is chock full of guns and weapons and very violent society to begin with. We were just talking about the fact that a bunch of these white South Africans that came over here are going back home because they find our society to be too violent, dangerous, and chaotic.
They're right.
So, that is the landscape. And then you add on top of that this disgusting illegal war of choice where innocent civilians are being slaughtered. And we can see, not only the schoolgirls, we see what happened in Tehran when the Israelis reportedly bombed this oil depot, and you had, a massive ecological disaster, acid rain raining down from the sky, health effects that we can only, scarcely imagine what the reverberations of that have been. Many civilians have been killed. And it creates more risk for us is the bottom line.
Yes.
But this particular thing, total and complete bullshit.
Yeah, I think this one's...
Don't worry about that one.
As I said, I'm really not worried about some like state-sponsored attack. I think that some sort of blowback style attack that could happen here in the... By the way, I mentioned all these illegal. What about all these Iranians who are currently living here? We got how many massive Iranian populations? Polling, which you've seen, Crystal, if you watch the media, you would think 90% of American Iranians are for the war. Not true. More recent poll just came out. They're 50-50 on it. So like you just said, maybe there's some guy who's got some family over there. They get killed. And you could see it happening. Are we excusing it? No, we're just living in reality. Hope that there's no violence. But having lived through the entire global war on terror and seen some of these attacks all happen in real time, you really have to be careful, which is why it's a better idea to just not get involved in the war in the first place. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate it. We'll have a great Friday show for everybody tomorrow. We'll see you all then.